Scale to 10K months and beyond by working with your dream clients for your Pinterest Manager business. In today's episode, we are going to break down 5 simple steps you can take today that is going to help you land those dream clients. I'm Emily Vales. I'm a Pinterest marketing expert and coach, and for the past 5.5 years, I've helped my clients and my students increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. And for the past 2 years, I've really focused on my Pinterest Manager Academy, which is my signature program where I am helping people start their Pinterest Manager business and, like I mentioned, scale to 10K months and beyond with my proprietary framework. So if you want to learn more about becoming a Pinterest manager and really the ins and the outs and honestly the behind the scenes for that framework I mentioned, you can subscribe and binge my secret podcast, which I am going to link below. So be sure to check that out. So before we talk about these 5 simple steps, I'm going to explain really quickly what a Pinterest manager is. So as a Pinterest manager, I am actually managing Pinterest accounts for other business owners. So Pinterest is an amazing way for businesses to essentially get discovered by their perfect audience. And a lot of business owners either don't know how to market on Pinterest and utilize the visual search engine, or they might not have time to manage one more platform. So that's why they would want to hire a Pinterest manager. Not to mention, Pinterest is an amazing platform because since it is a visual search engine, business owners, they're working hard to create their content. And the content they are producing and pinning on the platform can bring them traffic for not just days and weeks, but it can actually bring them traffic to their website, their products, their lead magnets for multiple years. So yes, you're putting this effort into the platform, but it continues to really pay you back. So that's why a business owner would want to hire a Pinterest manager, because they might not have time, they might not know how to, and it's something that can ultimately make them more money for their business. So now let's kind of pivot here. So let's say maybe you have learned more about Pinterest management, you understand that this is a type of freelance service you can offer. And like I said, check out that secret podcast if you want to learn more about that. But how are you going to find these clients for your new service-based business? And that can be definitely a tricky piece of the puzzle. And I tell people this all the time. If you don't have clients, you don't have a business. There has to be an exchange of money, obviously. So finding clients is an important piece of the puzzle. But as I managed accounts, I worked with lots of different types of business owners. I worked with e-commerce businesses. I worked with course creators. I worked with coaches. I worked with service-based businesses. And what I discovered was really who I enjoyed working with, and I kind of really developed this expertise and niche even within Pinterest management. So of course, Pinterest management is a niche within freelancing, but then it's really great to niche down even more and really have this target audience within your niche. So as a Pinterest manager, I would say that I helped educational visionaries. And so I actually worked with a lot of teacher business owners and a lot of course creators. And before I started my Pinterest manager business, I actually was a teacher or an educator. So I felt that I really excelled at helping this type of business owner. And when I was thinking about it, it just excited me because in a way it made me feel connected to the classroom still, despite not wanting to be in the classroom, if that makes sense. And I really felt that I was the perfect person to market their blog, their products, because I could really target that audience well, because at one point I was their audience, and I was at one point the person that was buying from the business owners that I was now helping. So like I said, I really felt like that gave me an edge. So here's what we are going to do so that you can figure out who you want to work with as a Pinterest manager, because your interest and your passion, or maybe lack thereof, for whatever type of business owner you were working with, it does impact ultimately how you feel about the work. And I started to share this and then I kind of went off on another tangent, but what I discovered through working with these different types of businesses, because not all of my clients in the beginning were teacher business owners, I realized that some types of businesses I enjoyed serving more than others, and it did impact how I felt about the work. So in the beginning, I did kind of stay open because I was honestly really hungry to get experience, to get clients. But I think it was good that I experienced working with different types of businesses because It gave me a better outlook in terms of what's working and how to market on Pinterest. But like I said, it also helped me figure out who I wanted to work with. So with these simple steps to getting your dream clients, number one, I would really decide on at least 3 different niches that you are interested in working with. So I knew that teacher paid teacher sellers, that was within education, and that was really somebody that I was interested in working with. So that could be like one niche for me, for example. So when you're thinking about this, some of my students inside my Pinterest Manager Academy, they might niche or at least narrow down who they want to niche and serve into 3 different buckets. Like I said, really 3 different niches. So it could be health and wellness, for example. Some of my students want to, work with people who are homesteaders. Some people want to work with those in the DIY or design space. But I would have sort of 3 different categories or 3 different niches that you're interested in serving. And I share that because I've started to notice something interesting as my students start to essentially pitch or reach out to business owners who are cold to them, sending emails, letting them know that they're interested in working with them. Depending on the niche that they're reaching out to, some have more or less success within a specific niche. And, obviously every business owner is at a different point. They might already have a Pinterest manager. They might have been burned by Pinterest in the past, meaning they didn't have a great experience with it. They might not be ready to hire. You don't know. But with these simple steps I'm sharing with you, you are essentially, what I'm teaching you is how to cold pitch. So you're reaching out to somebody who doesn't know you yet. And I worked with a student. We did a one-on-one VIP day together, and we worked intensely together throughout the course of a day. And we really came up with a plan for how she was going to get to her first client as a Pinterest manager, because she had really been working on her Pinterest management business on her own for about a year, and she hadn't landed any clients. She had sent around, I want to say 100 emails to people in the e-commerce space, specifically those who sold jewelry. And she was kind of spinning her wheels. She was sending these emails. She wasn't getting feedback. And I definitely saw some areas of growth for her in terms of not just the email, but also who she was reaching out to. Because Einstein's definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, right? And expect different results. So she wasn't getting any traction. And I said, first of all, let's just broaden a little bit and come up with a couple of other niches that you would like to work with. So she decided that she had an interest in serving teachers pay teacher sellers, and specifically those who were speech language pathologists, which is pretty specific, but that is a whole niche in itself on Pinterest, which is amazing. So we came up with this plan. She had an additional niche, and guess what? When she started reaching out to this new niche and these other type of business owners, she started getting feedback. So that's one reason in particular too. For whatever reason, you might get more traction, and that could be for a lot of different reasons, but it is nice to kind of keep your interests a little bit open, because let's say that maybe you got a client from these 3 different niches that you've narrowed down to. You're going to get experience and see who you would like to serve. And maybe you just focus on the homesteaders, or maybe you just focus on those within the DIY space. But I do think it's good to get some experience and see if you get better responses depending on the niche. So step 1, choose at least 3 different niches you are interested in serving as a Pinterest manager. Okay, so now that we have these niches, step 2, you need to start doing your research. I actually like to do my research on Instagram, because so many of these social media platforms, even though they're not necessarily a search engine, they're becoming more search-based, and they do utilize SEO. So I like to look on Instagram, check out people's profiles, check out their offers, look at their link in bio, and I will literally use the Instagram search bar and start following people, checking out businesses. And especially if it's a niche that you already have an interest in, you might follow a lot of people already. So for example, I was interested in working with teacher business owners. I already followed a ton of teacher business owners. But guess what? Once I went to Instagram, I found even more. And pro tip, let's say you have this person that you love to follow in the food blogging world. Maybe they share a lot of great keto recipes. The people they follow, that might be even more people in the food blogging sphere. So even checking out who they're following and who their followers are, you might get even more inspiration in terms of people that you could pitch to. So step number 2, you're really diving into that research where you might be following accounts, but as part of this step 2, you really need to start gathering their contact information, whether that be a social media handle or what I really prefer is their email. I don't teach my students to send direct messages. I didn't get a lot of traction personally pitching that way, so I would gather emails because I really believe the most effective way to reach out to business owners is to actually email them. You can also check out their website. Sometimes business owners will just have their contact email on there. Other times there will be a form to fill out. I really recommend trying to get that contact email because that's going to be obviously the most direct way to reach out to them. So step 2, you are getting their, whether it be their social media handle, and then ultimately you want to get their email address so that you can reach out to them. Step 3, now that we have the niche and we have really narrowed that down, we've started collecting the emails, you need to have some type of system for organizing these businesses in their emails and essentially how you're reaching out to them. This is such an important piece because I get pitched to all the time as a business owner. And I have to say, I don't know that there's really ever been a pitch that I was wowed by where I thought, oh my goodness, this person has spent a lot of time putting this together. They read about my business. They're interested in working with me. It's very sincere. A lot of emails I receive are very copy and pasted. And I think that cold pitching gets a bad rap because it can feel icky, like salesy, annoying, all of the things that we don't want to be. But it really is about how you approach it and what you're saying to people. And people can get a really good vibe pretty quickly if you are being sincere or if this is copy and pasted and you're just sending it out to hundreds of people. And I think the reason that in the early days of my Pinterest manager business that I was successful with pitching was because it was sincere. I put a lot of work into it. And like I said at the beginning of this video, we're really trying to work on you not just landing any clients, but your dream clients. And these people I was reaching out to, I really felt that it would be a dream to be able to work with them. Some of them were people that I had followed for years. Some of them were people that I had bought from time over time. So it was really easy to craft an authentic email. I say easy, but I did put time and effort, and I actually worked with a business coach on creating this email template. And I say template, but you do want to have some type of kind of flow that you're working with, whether you're going to need to introduce yourself, share why you're interested in working with them. But like I said, it was a template, but at the same time, it still took additional time to customize that template for each business owner I was reaching out to because it was personalized. And so I had some basis to work off of, which did save time ultimately, but I did make it very personal to each person and it took time, but I also felt like I had a better conversion rate with my pitches because I did take that time. So let's talk about some of the key things you're going to want to include in this email template. And I think I forgot to mention, but this template is essentially step 4. So in this email template, like I mentioned, you want to introduce yourself, share why you're interested in helping them, and you really want to paint this picture about not yourself and why you're so great and why they should want to work with you. This email is about them, why this business owner you're reaching out to is so great, why you have this invested interest in their business, and really you want to paint this picture about what Pinterest could do for them, and you want to kind of thread in some urgency. So why is Pinterest a must for them now? And really one way that I've taught my students to kind of sign off this email is to really kind of hook them in or get them curious. What could you offer to them that's going to get them to respond to the email? That's the thing. We don't want them to just delete this email and be another cold pitch that they receive that they click the delete button on. So how can you get them to respond? What I teach my students is to essentially create a PDF or some type of personalized document, or maybe even a 60-second video explaining to them what you can do for them in terms of Pinterest. So my students, and I created this template for myself, it worked for me, and I customized it for pitching, and it actually showed them their offers and did math and broke down exactly what they could potentially make even from marketing on Pinterest and getting more eyes and more people on their email list. And so when you can give them tangible numbers and really paint this picture, you're not making any promises about what you're going to do, but you're just giving them an idea of if you get more people on your email list or if you get more people to your shop page, it could equate to this much revenue. that gets them excited and they want to learn more. So in that email, you're not attaching it because also people are a little hesitant for good reason to click on attachments. You're starting the conversation. Say, would you be interested in me sending that over to you? So that's something that really piques their curiosity and gets them to respond. And inside my Pinterest Manager Academy, I actually give my students the email template. I give them this personalized PDF that they can take and customize for the person they're pitching to. So it truly makes it so simple for them. But it does become sort of a volume game where you are going to have to send a decent amount of pitches to figure out what's working, what's not, even the subject line in your emails. All of these things are important. Now, the last step, step 5, you have to have a follow-up system. And I teach my students to follow up 7 times or 7 emails or until they receive a no. So if somebody responds with that first email and says no, then stop emailing them, okay? We don't want to harass people, but it's okay to follow up, and that is crucial, and that's a piece that a lot of people forget about. So I do teach my students what they can say in these different emails, so you're not just like, hey, have you looked at that? Hey, have you looked at that? But you're sharing value, insight, and making your emails worth opening. So that follow-up piece is absolutely crucial. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of these 5 steps. Number 1, you need to narrow down at least 3 different niches of people that you are interested in working with. Number 2, you need to do your research and gather contact emails so you can start emailing people. Number 3, you need to have some type of system where you are going to keep track and organize these emails and how you're following up with people. Number 4, you need to have a template and ultimately some type of way that you are personalizing these emails so that they want to respond to your cold pitch. And number 5, you have to follow up. The key to success is following up. So I hope you found this helpful. Be sure to subscribe and check out that secret podcast because you're going to learn more about my Pinterest Manager Academy. So if you heard me talk about that, it is a great program and I'd love to share more. So be sure to subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I can't wait to see you soon in next week's episode. Bye for now.